A robot with skin that catches light like yours, eyes that blink, a neck that moves almost exactly like a human's, and a plan that goes even further, recreating the face and voice of someone you've lost. China's UBTech just sold over 13,000 of these humanoid companions before they even launched, priced up to $146,000. They're marketed as a cure for loneliness, but one feature has critics calling it a hard line no one should cross. What U1 actually is? UBTech Robotics, the world's first publicly traded humanoid robot maker, listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange under the ticker 9880, unveiled U1 at a launch event in Shenzhen on June 30th, 2026. Before this launch, UBTech had spent years building its reputation on industrial robots deployed in factories and warehouses for manufacturers including NIO, FAW of Volkswagen, Airbus, Texas Instruments, Z-Car, and Dongfeng Liuzhou Motor. U1 marks the company's first major step into the home robotics market. It is sold under U-World, a newly created consumer brand, and it is described by UBTech and by outside coverage as the world's first full-sized, mass-produced humanoid robot built specifically to look and move like a real person. During the launch, several U1 units walked the stage interspersed with human performers and even danced alongside a person in a tuxedo, an apparent attempt to blur the line between robot and human in the eyes of the audience. UBTech did not shy away from science fiction associations at the event, pairing the robots with video game-inspired outfits and visuals, and a spaceship displayed on a giant screen behind the stage. The U1 lineup comes in 3 tiers: U1 Lite, a partial or semi-torso edition, U1 Pro, a full-body model, and U1 Ultra, the high-dynamic flagship, and in both male and female body configurations. The male version stands about 183 centimeters, 6 feet tall, while the female version measures roughly 168 centimeters, 5 feet 6 inches, and weighs about 35 kilograms. Every model shares a set of core technical features: 88 degrees of freedom across the body, allowing coordinated movement of the arms, legs, hands, neck, chest, and torso, and a silicone exterior engineered to mimic the texture and appearance of human skin, complete with realistic hair and expressive eyes that track movement. A signature piece of engineering is what UBTech calls a dual-pivot biomimetic cervical spine, a neck mechanism the company says can reproduce roughly 90% of fundamental human head and neck movements, contributing to naturalistic gaze shifts and head tilts that are difficult for earlier robots to achieve. The robots are equipped with eye cameras, chest sensors, and microphones so they can see, sense, and listen to the people around them. On the software side, an emotion-driven large language model runs locally on a Rockchip RK3588 processor, letting the robot hold conversations, read tone of voice and facial expressions, and adapt its responses to a user's apparent mood. For instance, offering supportive dialogue if someone seems stressed, or proposing something like watching a sports match together. UBTech says this on-device processing, together with encrypted local storage of memories and conversation data, is meant to keep personal information off external servers. Despite the human-like appearance, the robot's actual physical abilities remain fairly limited. The base U1 can move its head, eyes, and mouth, sit, stand, and walk across flat indoor surfaces, but it does not perform housework, cooking, or other physical labor, and UBTech has said intimate functions are not part of the design, at least for now. Battery life on the basic model runs up to around 4 hours. Price tags and a rush of pre-orders. Pricing varies considerably by model and sex. Industry coverage puts the entry-level U1 Lite at roughly 119,800 yuan, or about $17,600 to $17,650, while the top-tier U1 Ultra reaches about 990,000 yuan, or roughly $145,700. Some retail listings quote the mid-tier U1 Pro at around $30,000 to $35,000 with delivery included. Notably, Coverage has pointed out a price gap between male and female Ultra configurations, which has drawn some public debate over how the company values or prices each version. Demand appears to have exceeded UBTech's own expectations. Pre-orders opened on the e-commerce platform JD.com on June 2nd, 2026, requiring a deposit of about 3,000 yuan, roughly $450, and the company reported more than 2,100 reservations within the first week alone. By the time of the full public launch on June 30th, cumulative pre-orders were reported at more than 13,300 units, with one account describing close to 4,000 reservations and over 10 million yuan in deposits gathered within roughly the first 10 days of the pre-order window. Deliveries to early customers are expected to begin in mid-September 2026. Framed as a cure for loneliness, UBTech has been explicit that Yuan's core purpose is emotional companionship rather than physical labor. Michael Tam, the head of the UWorld brand and UBTech's chief brand officer, described the emerging human-robot companionship market as offering essentially unlimited emotional value and full life cycle coverage, and told the Shenzhen launch audience that the robots would remain loyal and accompanying for a lifetime. The company has tied this pitch directly to demographic pressures inside China, citing figures that around 90 million adults in the country live alone and that there are roughly 118 million people described as empty nest seniors, older adults whose adult children have moved away. UBTech has said it plans to donate 100 U1 units in 2026 and has floated potential uses in elder care, reception, and hospitality roles, and what it calls premium domestic service applications. This pitch sits within a much larger wave of AI-driven companionship products aimed at isolated populations. In South Korea, AI-powered plush dolls have been placed in some care facilities, and a lamp-shaped device called LEQ offers similar conversational companionship and safety monitoring for older users elsewhere, replicating real people. Beyond the standard U1 models, UBTech has described plans to build customized units that recreate the faces and voices of specific real individuals. According to the company, these customized robots would use 3D facial reconstruction and voice print-based identity replication to recreate a designated person, combined with the same emotion-driven interaction models and long-term memory systems used elsewhere in the U1 line. In practice, this means a customer could commission a robot built to resemble and sound like, for example, a deceased spouse or a child who has moved far away. This element of the U1 program has drawn some of the sharpest reactions in tech press coverage, with at least one outlet bluntly rejecting the concept as an unwelcome step toward a Black Mirror style of technology. The core concern raised is psychological and ethical, whether building a physical, conversational stand-in for someone who has died or is absent could interfere with normal grieving, foster unhealthy attachment, or blur the line between memory and denial, even if UBTech's stated intent is to ease loneliness among isolated groups. A convincing illusion with limits. Reactions to the robot's realism have been mixed. Close-up demonstration footage shows fine details such as blinking eyelashes and subtle facial movement, and some who have handled the unit say the silicone skin feels remarkably close to real human skin, though noticeably cold to the touch. At the same time, several journalists who observed the Shenzhen launch in person described the robots as still looking somewhat plastic or cartoonish up close with a visibly awkward walking gait, and noted that joint movement gives away the mechanical structure underneath the skin during interaction. Commentators have also pointed out that the emotional intelligence on display is fundamentally pattern recognition and language model prediction rather than genuine feeling, even as it is marketed as emotionally adaptive. On privacy, UBTech has emphasized that user data is processed and stored primarily on the device itself rather than uploaded to external servers, describing this as a minimal cloud dependency architecture. Some coverage has noted the irony of privacy assurances coming from a company operating in a jurisdiction where government authorities can request access to data broadly. From factory floors to living rooms, U1 is explicitly positioned as a departure from UBTech's existing industrial line known as Walker, which has been deployed in manufacturing and warehouse settings and has even been shown performing choreographed tasks such as ballet-style dance routines for demonstration purposes. Where Walker robots are built primarily for safe operation around workers and for precision tasks on a factory floor, U1 redirects that same underlying engineering, including UBTech's experience with safe human interaction and autonomous operation in complex environments, toward a home companionship product instead. Company materials describe the shift as resting on a fully proprietary end-to-end technology stack that spans the biomimetic skin, the embodied intelligence hardware, a dedicated operating system, the emotion-driven language model, and system-level manufacturing, which UBTech frames as an integrated approach to problems that have historically made humanoid robots difficult to deploy outside controlled industrial settings. This full-stack claim is central to how the company differentiates U1 from other companion robot efforts, arguing that its decade-plus of industrial deployment experience gives it an engineering foundation that newer consumer-only robotics startups lack. Part of a much bigger robotics push. UBTech's move into consumer companion robots is unfolding against the backdrop of an aggressive Chinese push into humanoid robotics generally. According to Barclays, China accounted for roughly 85% of the world's humanoid robot installations in the most recent year measured, and the Chinese government has designated robotics a strategic industry. By the most recent count cited in coverage, more than 140 Chinese companies had already launched over 330 distinct humanoid robot models. UBTech itself has been building toward higher production volumes for some time. In March 2025, it partnered with Siemens with the stated goal of reaching an annual manufacturing capacity of 10,000 humanoid units by 2026, where many competing humanoid programs, including Tesla's Optimus, emphasize physical labor, dexterity, or industrial usefulness. UBTech's U1 line is a deliberate bet in the opposite direction, that consumers will pay a premium not for strength or task performance, but for a robot that looks, sounds, and responds like a person. Robots of many shapes and sizes are already common across China, turning up in hotels, shopping centers, and factories, but U1 is among the first pitched directly at individual households rather than institutions or businesses. Whether that bet pays off, and whether the more far-reaching plan to recreate the likenesses of specific individuals moves forward as described, remains to be seen once the first U1 units begin reaching customers' homes in September 2026.